Oh ha ha guys, who replaced my weapon with a pool noodle? Today I am attempting to beat Sekiro without leveling attack power. Possible? Absolutely. Fun? God no it's not, but that's par for the course at this point. But I'm not gonna get anywhere without a weapon. Hey, small child, do you perhaps see a sword laying around here? I love when a challenge just lets me start right at the beginning. No prep, no setup, just pick up and go. Alright, so first things first, I want to clown on Genichiro. I have a feeling that the second time I see him in this field, he might actually pose a threat. So I burned it into memory that I do not have Mikiti counter yet, and soon after he's defeated, but unfortunately I was dehanded. The early game of this run isn't going to be any different from a normal playthrough. Attack power upgrades only come from two sources, either by beating bosses or using the Dragon Mask, but of course neither of those things are obtainable this early, so for some fleeting moment I can pretend I'm playing the game like a normal person. I grab the shuriken wheel prosthetic and get to work on General Naomori, and after just a few dozen slashes and head stomps, we have our first prayer bead and gourd seed. Now, I did think about going the extra step of making this base vitality, demon bell, charmless, blah 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 blah, but unlike some, I value what sanity I have left. Speaking of sanity, I tell this kind old lady that I'm not her son, she doesn't believe me and gives me a bell. Thanks grandma. Using said bell, I'm able to warp back to the past and end this run before it even begins. I'm not here to actually do Hirata Estate, instead I'm just grabbing the flame barrel and axe as they will be useful shortly. And by shortly, I mean right now, the chained ogre. So I knew that I could use a gachi and sugar to get a free death blow. What I didn't know is that you can just de-aggro him to do the same? In hindsight, it seems kinda obvious. I mean, just walk away and stab him in the back, the old snake in the grass trick. But instead, I figured I would just set him on fire. Yeah, that works. Unfortunately, while trying to clear Yamauchi, I skill issued and took my first death. I mean, no, this was intentional. I don't want to make this a no-death run, gotta save that for another time. FromSoft, is that a massive snake in your ravine, or are you just happy to see me? Sorry, it's my first time. Is that not how you the sex? Time for the first major boss of the run, Gyoubu Oniwa. Like I mentioned earlier, there isn't anything different at this point, so the fight's just normal. I will say I used to grappling hook his spinning attack, but I found deflecting does insane posture damage, so that's my go-to from now on. And with that, it's time to finally start feeling the pain of this run. The attack power button will haunt me for the next few hours, I'm sure. I meet up with Not Ishin, who wants me to take care of a rodent problem. A few of you mentioned the only one that needs to be dealt with is this one in the back, and you guys did not lead me astray. This did in fact complete the rat hunt. But rats don't really do it for me anymore. I need to move on to bigger game. How about bull? Which is conveniently half of the word I would use to describe this fight. It was close, he almost Uno reversed the invention of Yakiniku, but in the end he ended up slamming into a wall, which is not good for his health. Normally I do Corrupted Monk before Geni, just because that's how I did it on my very first run, but I'm pretty sure the game wants you to go to the castle first on account of it being, you know, front and center with massive gates and stairs leading up and such. Level design, you understand. But technically in this run, it wouldn't matter what boss goes in what order because I'm going to be smacking all of them with a limp paper towel roll anyway. As such, Genichiro is first. You know, if they were a little less murdery, this would be a hell of a food delivery trick. Right, inside I grab another gourd seed, then drop down the Nab-Sabi Maru. I then get a first-hand anatomy lesson from Matsumoto, but as the saying goes, the student has surpassed the master. Back up top, I have to take out Jinsuke, which is easy because I can deflect. Sure would be a pain if I couldn't do that. Hey Geni, surprised to see me again? You gotta hand it to me. I've done good to get this far by myself. I mean, I didn't accept any handouts from anybody. Everything I've done was 100% my own skill, even if I had to fight hand over fist for it. And in the end, it seems I have the upper hand. Well, hello there, Ishin. I'm sure you won't be a pain in the butt later. Would you like to drink some alcohol that you literally just gave me? Would that make you happy? I then make a pit stop over in the Ashina reservoir to grab Gyoubu's broken horn because the next boss might drive me bananas without it. On my way, I meet up with Not Ishin once more, who asks if I've gotten good. I have not, so he has nothing more to say to me. I don't really need the Mushin Arts book, so I'm not in any kind of rush to finish a skill tree. I do, however, take grappling hook attack and more healing from items. Then I descended into the Sunken Valley, and would you all like to see some next level BS? So I mistimed a parry and got grabbed, which I thought would kill me. It did not, but instead launched me off the level, except there was a platform. Then, while quickly trying to dispatch this enemy, I became Swiss cheese. That was a roller coaster, I tell you what. This time, Snake Eyes and I dance on the other end of the arena and I emerge victorious. I then sprint across the bridge and hide underneath the fort waiting for the enemies to forget they ever saw me. I return to Best Girl to have her upgrade my healing some more, then I get into an altercation with this man who looks like he's just escaped my dungeon. Can't have that, so I put him out of his misery. I already made a joke once about giant snakes, but this one gets me wet. Jane, just cut that joke. The one I'm trying to make is not the one people are going to take. They're going to pull a Framp card again, and I don't need a repeat of that. Alright, time for Monk. One of us has been cheating and leveling attack power, and it ain't me. This took me 3 tries, and the winning attempt took a total of 11 minutes. Phase 1 is far harder than Phase 2 for a variety of reasons. His attacks, while all in a pattern, are fast and wide sweeping, hits like a truck, you know, you've been there before. My favorite attacks were when he would slip and fall on his back. It's pretty easy to get hits because he takes so long to stand up. And of course, the poop throw, because once again, it's very easy to punish just by running at him while he does it. Phase 2, the fight gets significantly easier. All I had to do is deflect one of his big overhead slam attacks, which lets me get the worm pull with the spear. This does what we in the business call a metric fuck ton of posture damage. And on that note, this is the perfect chance to talk about the prosthetic tools in this run. When I started, I had just thought to use them like normal, but up to this point, I actually hadn't upgraded any of them, so I decided to just pair that with the challenge. It goes nicely together. So, in addition to no attack power, I'm doing this with base prosthetics as well. With King Kong re-dead for the first time, I used the skill points he gave me for additional healing on items, then grabbed the Flower of the Cave. Next, I make a quick stop to grab the firecrackers, then it's off to Senpo Temple. I had thought to take out a few of these monks for some sin and experience, but I was quickly surrounded and it seems that my plan still bit me in the ass. I grab the gourd seed from in front of this one, then make my way to the armored warrior, only to realize I never sat at a grace after the monk encounter, so no revive and 2 heals, it's fine, probably. It was a bit touch and go, but in the end, he understood the gravity of the situation. Hello, boys. Goodbye, boys. Time for the monkeys. First one is pretty easy as he just spawns behind us, but unfortunately I don't actually remember the speedrun strat for the others. I know Gachi and Sugar, which did allow me to take out the green monkey, but the other two noticed me and I ended up having to take them out the old-fashioned way. The purple monkey in the dark room and the orange monkey by just sneaking up behind him on the roof. Normally, I'm excited to do this fight because I actually kinda like it as a gimmick fight, but more importantly because it's basically a free attack power upgrade. Right, well since my disappointment is immeasurable, let's at least grab the Mortal Blade. Wolf, I have to warn you, only people subscribed to my channel can wield such awesome power. Well, I tried, and for everyone out there watching, if you enjoy the video, don't forget to subscribe. There's a Mortal Blade with your name on it. Note, Doomwolf and Associates does not condone the use of Mortal Blade, rather for aiding the undying or otherwise. Also, we make no promises your Mortal Blade will be infused with magic, it might just be a regular blade painted red. At this point, I was getting pretty close to the midway point of the game, and while not necessary yet, I figured I would go ahead and start setting up for the end, as well as preparing to do a certain optional boss. As such, it's back to Hirata Estate. I do stop to fight the worst placed mini-boss in the game, well, tied for the worst perhaps, the other one being the same enemy in that cramped well. Seriously, I actually enjoy fighting these guys, but the slight elevation difference kinda makes this one a pain in the ass. After a skill issue, I grab the Mistraven Feathers. They have like one use in the whole run, I swear. Hello, Father. Fancy meeting you here. Thanks for the key. Don't go dying now. What did I just say? After clearing out some more fodder, it's time for a mini-boss in Juuzu. I'm not sure what level Hirata Estate is scaled for, considering you can do it right at the beginning of the game, but I didn't feel like I was doing very much to him, so I enlisted Nogami over here as a distraction. Useless. I'm cutting your pay, Nogami-san. To be honest, this encounter makes me a little worried. Not for Lady Butterfly or even Father Owl later down the line. No, it makes me worried for the second Juuzu encounter when there's also that Vilehand. But I guess that's a future me's problem. Eventually, he goes down. I quickly return to Emma to upgrade my healing, then it's time for Madame Butterfly. She's not so bad even at 1 attack power, and by that I mean I can actually see her health bar move with each swing that connects. I've also never really personally struggled with her that much, but that being said, she did take 2 tries this time. The winning one was only a 5-minute fight, which feels only slightly longer than normal. I didn't know until after doing this run that there is a semi-cheese where you just dash to her side and attack repeatedly. Instead I did the whole attack 2 or 3 times until she deflects, Uno deflect her back, and then repeat until rigor mortis sets in. Phase 2 I got pretty close to being able to no summon and cycle her, but she got away from me for 1 second and brought them in, elongating the fight. Again, it's no big deal, and this butterfly has been butter-flopped into her grave. Because she's dead. Well, I have 2 of the 3 key items needed to progress, so I guess I have no choice but to head to Mibu village, which means it's time for this a-hole. He took me 4 tries. That's more than Butterfly and Guinea. Yep, tracks honestly. Oh, Lady of the Pit, what wisdom do you have this time? Okay, Snake Eyes. I think this one is meant to be harder than the Gunfort one, but since you can easily stealth Deathblow her, that's not the case. I did have to do this with the constant worry that I would be cannonballed from off screen, and near the end they did notice me, but by that point it was too late. Unfortunately, this is where the fun times stop. Since I didn't come this way first and already defeated the ape, that means duo ape is inevitable. Phase 1 is easy, it's literally just phase 2 of the first fight, which means I can use my spear and camcorder to put him on the front page. It's when the second gorilla spawns that it becomes an issue. This encounter is the whole reason I grabbed the firecrackers from earlier. My hope was obviously that I could take out the second gorilla before it became a problem. That did not happen. In fact, I did almost no posture damage to it, and maybe I'm misremembering, but I thought I did something insane like 40% of the bar per firecracker throw. Attack power is tied to Kusabi Maru's posture damage, but maybe it also affects the posture damage of prosthetics? That's not impossible, especially because I make a shocking discovery later about it, but that's going to have to wait as I have two gorillas trying to peel me like a banana. With equal parts running around and luck, I was eventually able to whittle down the second gorilla's health bar, meaning the fight should be as good as done. But oh boy, let me tell you, I was nervous because if I died it would mean needing to do it all over again. Thankfully, that didn't happen and Duo Ape goes down on the first try, after just 12 minutes. And now it's time for the hardest boss fight in the game, not making a joke about Miss Noble being the hardest boss in the game. Damn it, I failed. One thing that I find kinda neat is these ghost dudes. They don't show up if you go to Mibu village first. Well, to be more accurate, I don't know what the trigger to make them spawn is, but Mibu, then Guinea, then Gunfort is my normal path, and when I do that, I never see them or the ones in the Gunfort. Just a cool thing that I like about the replayability of this game. Unfortunately, I was not able to stop and smell the flowers in Mibu village on account of everything trying to kill me, but I did make sure to grab a gourd seed on my way, and now it's time for Odin. Fortunately, she is no issue as she is highly allergic to being poisoned. I don't know how that works well with her being a ghost and all, but one Sabimadu combo is enough and it chunks her posture bar. Do it a couple more times and she's been released to the afterlife. But now it's time for the real star of the show, the Corrupted Monk. I actually really like this fight, but I was super worried. She has absolutely monstrous posture regen, which means you're intended to whittle down her vitality, which at certain thresholds slows posture regen. I'm sure you can see the problem. After 5 minutes, this is how far I got her health bar down, and keep in mind she doesn't deflect a whole lot, or at the very least leaves herself open after a lot of her attacks. At this point, I decided why not use some Divine Confetti. It didn't super beef up my damage, but the reason I wanted to use it was just so I could lower her health down to the deep red posture bar, because at that point she might not be able to regen it faster than I can bring it down. And after another 5 minutes, the monk finally meets her end. This is about the point I started having serious regrets about the run. But you know what I don't regret? Making my wonderful, amazing Patreons fight to the death. Wait, when I say it like that, it sounds bad. Big thanks to my Patreons, y'all help keep the channel alive, and stick around after the video to see the Battle Royale. I grab the Shelter Stone and begin climbing up Ashina Castle all over again. And now it's time for this Vilehand fight, but thankfully I can turn this 2-on-1 into a 2-on-1, but like in my favor. What I wanted to do initially was keep my helper alive for as long as possible, and this is an, air quotes, easy thing to do due to the fact that at any point I can just walk up to him and repuppet the body. As long as it's a death blow from behind. Well, guess I'm on my own. Huh, that went better than expected. With the skill points I have, I bought Shadow Rush. This was stupid. I never used that ability and could have saved it for something else. Ah well, time for my least favorite fight in the whole game, Emma and Ishin. Why is it my least favorite, you ask? Well, because Emma is best girl, and also I'm kinda cheeks at this version of Ishin. Sword Saint? No problem. Feeble Old Man? Big problem. Anyway, Emma has very little health and posture, so much so that at one attack power, she kinda feels like a normal early game boss. Now, Ishin, that's where the fun begins. He's got the same hit, deflect, repeat loop as Sword Saint, so aggression is key. Sometimes he'll break out of it. If it's for the Ichimonji, just step to the side and get a free charge attack in. If it's for his hidden blade cross slash, stay close and make him push you, then just jump over his perilous attack. That's pretty much it for phase 1. Make sure to land the Makita counters when you can and it'll be over fast. Phase 2 is where it gets a bit spicy. I'm pretty ass at dealing with his fire and one mind ability, so I just don't, and Axe to the face makes that problem go away. Aside from that, Ichimonji now switches to a fire variant, so a little extra care and space is needed, and he can do his weird drag along the ground attack with a questionable hitbox, but it's possible to just jump to the side. After 9 minutes and 8 tries, Shura is unleashed upon the world. Hey Dad, I heard your favorite game is Uno. Eh, huh? Oh, good, it was all just a dream. Dad, you'll never guess, I had this nightmare that you asked me to forsake Kudo and I... Oh no. Right, well, I guess it's time to take down dear old Dad. Phase 1 is the same as normal, but I do want to draw attention to something I find really annoying. By being aggressive, there's a chance we will hit each other at the same time, which at high posture will stagger me. But since he was hit, he gets to react quicker with his stomp grab than I can move out of it. Basically, it means that anytime I'm playing aggressive, there's a non-zero chance I just die and it sucks. Phase 2 is where I finally get a chance to use the Mistraven Feathers. When he dust clouds away, it removes your lock-on to simulate being caught in the dust, but activating Mistraven lets you easily dodge his follow-up. To be honest, I only used it a few times and opted to just see through the cloud and sprint in the other direction. The real issue is that he can regain his posture. There's ways to stop it, but I honestly just wasn't prepared to deal with it, so I ended up just needing to power through his whole health bar in Phase 2, making this take 6 tries in just over 12 minutes. To be honest, that kinda doesn't really bother me. I actually really like both owl fights, so it taking longer is okay. And with that, I think it's time to finish setting up for the endings. I'll spare you the hour it took me of running around and looking at the wiki because for whatever reason, I cannot remember what I have to do aside from eating too much rice. I know a lot of you out there struggle with this mini-boss, so let me show you a foolproof strategy for handling it. Alright, time for what I was dreading the whole run. I do know it's possible to sneak up behind the Vilehand and puppet him, but I could not for the life of me get it to work. I think my problem was at first I didn't kill the ad behind him, and then the one time I did, the last time I had a Genichiro, I approached from directly in front of Juuzu. I don't know, all I know is that this sucks at 1 attack power. I ended up just leading the Vilehand off to the side where somehow Juuzu lost interest so I could 1v1 him then stealth deathblow Juuzu himself to make it a touch easier. It was still a bit scary, but he went down and it's time for Father Owl. Again, I really like the owl fight, so I don't particularly mind that it took a while. Is what I thought, but this is where my patience was tested. 3 attempts, and the winning one took a whopping 24 minutes. Phase 1, what I'm looking to bait, is when he does his little roll around dodge the slam thing. You can jump the perilous attack and get a couple slashes on him on the way down, then just wait long enough for him to commit to the slam, dodge to the side for some free shots. Anytime he shadow rushes, stomp on the blade for that free posture damage. Aside from that though, I like dodging through his firecracker slash for a free backstab. Phase 2 those strategies still work, but he adds in some owl attacks. Thankfully, this isn't Inner Father, so his flaming owl is always a jump and he'll follow it up with a shadow rush. He does now do a little teleport thing, but I always just run around in a big circle until he reappears, then rush in for a free hit. It's probably not the way the devs want you to handle that attack, but it works. It got so close that I ended up using multiple items to keep myself alive because 24 minutes is a long time to lose. But in the end, Wolf beats Owl in a weird game of rock, paper, stabby. Now I just go ahead and pray inside the Mibu village shrine and good gravy, he's naked! Corrupted Monk. Phase 1 I believe is the same as the previous version, nothing really new to talk about, and yes, I 100% stealth deathblowed Phase 2, not about that life. Phase 3 is when she adds terror attacks. Now, in an older video I complained about how the game wants you to jump her perilous attack, but then she will spit terror and you just die. A few of you said to jump to the side, and I had done that before but still got hit by it. Now though, I think that was an exception and not the expectation because I tried it again and was totally fine. So, after learning that I was just unlucky, the fight got much easier. Well, not that it was hard to begin with, I suppose, but still. 2 tries and 11 minutes later, she goes down. I was a tiny bit worried the Okami mini-boss was going to be hard, but she didn't fight back at all. I then swim with a fish, thankfully getting through on my first try, and climb the mountain, and it's time for the Divine Dragon. At first, I thought Phase 1 would take forever, actually making the fight somewhat challenging, but the Deathblow takedown still one-shots the group, so never mind. Phase 2 is an easy gimmick fight, but this is where I made my discovery that I alluded to earlier. Apparently, attack power can influence the amount of damage lightning reversal does. It's not a huge problem, it just means the fight takes longer. What is an issue is when I get smacked out of the air and land on the ground and get shocked. Can the air blast be deflected while lightning's on the blade? I don't know, I forgot to try. This actually did take me 2 attempts because when the dragon went on a rampage at the beginning of Phase 2, I got knocked down and just couldn't get up to defend myself. Ah well, still not a tough fight, not like the next 2. Ashina is dead? Oh no! So anyway, where's my book? I guess it's time. Demon of Hatred? Oh joy. I'm gonna be honest, and sorry to let you all down, I didn't do it. I spent 25 minutes fighting this boss, admittedly suboptimally in more ways than one, but after 25 minutes, he only got down to half his second health bar. It's not fun. I found 0 enjoyment in attempting this, which is why I decided to just not. Is it possible? Yeah, sure, 100%. Is it worth it? Hell no, absolutely not. Maybe I was just fatigued from the whole run, but I know myself well enough to know that had I pushed through this, the victory would have felt hollow, just a feeling of, okay, time to move on, so I didn't. But don't worry, we still have the star of the entire game, Ishin the Sword Saint and his grandchild, Disappointment. Well, I make that joke, but here he's actually kind of an issue. No attack power turns him into a long drawn out fight. Sure, it's not hard, it's just Geni but with mortal draw, but still, even at hyper aggression, it takes a few minutes just to get the chance to see Ishin. Now, the issue is how long the fight takes overall. Personally, I really like Phase 1 Ishin, and I'm so familiar with it that across the 8 tries this took, I know hit that phase specifically twice. But because of the sheer amount of time it takes to get through all that health, it means I can't really make any mistakes. At this point, I was finally feeling it. The no attack power's little damage had finally gotten to me, and I decided to do something about it. First, I went to fight the Headless inside the cave near Ashina Castle. Upon defeat, he drops Akko's Spirit Fall, which is a reusable Akko Sugar. Second, I grabbed Ichimonji and double Ichimonji. I had planned to use these for extra posture damage, but far more importantly, I got Ascending and Descending Carp, which basically makes me do extra posture damage when I deflect, and I hate myself for not looking up what these did or just committing to Ichimonji earlier in the run. I could have had this so long ago and made the run so much easier, but I just didn't. Whatever, it's fine, I'm not mad, it's fine. Alright, Geni is just Geni. There isn't much different compared to the other 2 versions of him, so let's just skip him and head straight to the prize fight. Phase 1 Ishin, I like to just play super aggressive. I mean, he says it himself, hesitation is defeat. By staying up in his face, you can get the deflect loop, or if he does Ichimonji or his hidden blade, well, same as earlier with the other Ishin fight. I did make sure to utilize the free hit speedrunners do between his deflect and Mikiti counter for that extra damage. Phase 2 is the hard part, but again, aggression is key. When it starts, I buff with my sugar and get a charge attack in for negligible damage. What we want is to attack until he deflects, then he jumps back. We dodge through the spear for a hit and repeat. But he can also not do that in favor of a sword attack or a big spin. So after we deflect, one attack is fine, but hesitate just for a moment to see what he's doing. And when I say a moment, I really mean like a fraction of a second. Any slower and your follow-up won't connect in time. I found when he does his big spin, it's best not to land with an attack, just hit the ground and then start, otherwise he might hyper armor and thanks to the timings of your attacks, you won't be able to react with a deflect. If you're ever at distance, I would recommend just running in a big circle to dodge his Glock attack. If he jump attacks, I like to dodge to the side at the last second for a couple of free side slashes. If you need to heal, use the big rock in the arena and position it between you and him because believe me, he can and will close that distance. And lastly, if you can manage to get through Phase 2, Phase 3 is still free, albeit slightly less so than normal because of lightning reversal's lower damage. As far as I can tell, it's the same as Phase 2, just with lightning. So, you can, if you want, just hang back and wait for him to do those attacks, which is mostly what I did. I still tried to engage, but after 8 tries and this one taking about 15 minutes, I was ready to bring an end to Ishin and the run, and with one final thunderbolt, I am released from this prison of my own design. Now, I think the only way to celebrate is with a fight to the death. Who will be this week's grand champion? Let's find out.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching this week's video. It was fun. I say that in air quotes because I love this game, but doing any run with like low attack power, it just kind of sucks. It's not an enjoyable experience, at least not in my opinion. I know there are plenty of people out there that are like, yeah, I love doing weapon level 0 stuff, which is fine if you do, but it's not for me. And Demon of Hatred really drove that home. Like, yeah, Ishin, that was cool. Demon of Hatred, that sucked ass. I don't ever want to have to do that again. But maybe one day I will. Maybe I'll like add this to the list of challenges that could be done that I just didn't have the patience for. Like, you know, the Demon Princess and Pyromancy only. Dark Souls 3, but who knows? That's future me's problem. And oh, look at that, we got a winner. Congratulations, Wonder Woodsy, on your win. You are this week's grand champion.